Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is bouncing from critical support after experiencing another short-term dump caused by $500 million worth of selling pressure. And on top of that, both Bitcoin and Ethereum are playing out new patterns in the short term, which can tell us where the prices are going to head next. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment. Definitely stick around. First of all, just before getting into the Bitcoin charts today, we need to talk about the Bitcoin ETF news because just yesterday, Grayscale sent another approximately 13,000 Bitcoin worth well over $500 million to Coinbase to dump that Bitcoin again. And so once again, as I've been saying basically every day over the last 1 week or so, basically ever since the Bitcoin ETFs got approved, obviously this can cause selling pressure in the short term for Bitcoin, mainly to do with the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, the Grayscale ETF. Because just over 1 week ago, before the Bitcoin ETFs were actually approved, Grayscale were holding over 600,000 Bitcoin in the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, whereas right now they're actually holding around 573,000 Bitcoin, currently worth over $23 billion. And some people have been asking, how did Grayscale actually accumulate this much Bitcoin? And well, this is not Grayscale's actual Bitcoin. This is holding Bitcoin on behalf of clients, on behalf of investors, because basically the plan for Grayscale for multiple years now has been for spot Bitcoin ETFs to get approved. So we've been waiting multiple years for the spot Bitcoin ETFs to actually get approved. And basically, while the ETFs were not approved, years before they were approved, when Grayscale was still holding a lot of this Bitcoin, of course, the only way to exit GBTC, to exit the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, was to sell GBTC at a discount, which is what was happening during the bear market. And so basically, if you had your money sitting in Bitcoin held by Grayscale in the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, you could only exit GBTC once again by selling at a discount, because you could only exit at the net asset value once the spot Bitcoin ETFs were actually approved. And once again, as soon as they got approved, a lot of people that were finally waiting to exit Grayscale can all of a sudden exit Grayscale, basically all at once. That is what has been happening. And the main factor as to why a lot of people are wanting to leave Grayscale and perhaps go elsewhere with their money is honestly to do with the fact that Grayscale's fee for their spot Bitcoin ETF is simply way too high compared to competitors, because Grayscale's Bitcoin ETF fee is sitting at 1.5%, whereas, for example, BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF fee is sitting at 0.25%. So obviously that's a massive difference between 0.25% and 1.5% when you're talking about billions of dollars. And so once again, due to that, a lot of people have been exiting Grayscale, and because Grayscale is a cash create ETF, in order to exit Grayscale, they have to sell Bitcoin and pay out in US dollars. And so once again, that's exactly what happened yesterday, because we saw another 13,000 Bitcoin dumped on the market, around $500 million, causing a dump in the price of Bitcoin. And now the good news is that right now it is a weekend, which means the spot Bitcoin ETFs are not trading, because they only trade when the US stock market is open, so on weekdays. And so basically we should not be expecting that selling pressure today or on Sunday, because the stock market is closed, so the Grayscale ETF is not trading. But as soon as Monday comes around, when the US stock market opens back up again, I do continue to expect more selling pressure led by Grayscale, because there's simply a lot of Bitcoin looking to exit the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, because once again, their fees are simply way too high. But eventually, obviously, they're going to have to run out of Bitcoin at some stage. Obviously, they still hold a lot of Bitcoin, but it is a limited amount of Bitcoin. So at some stage, they will run out of Bitcoin. And so like I've been saying once again over the last 1 week, this is short-term bearish. Expect short-term selling pressure, but over the much longer term, as in months or years from now, the spot Bitcoin ETFs are actually very bullish. It's just we do have a bit of short-term selling pressure thanks to Grayscale. But anyway, getting into the Bitcoin charts today, looking at the daily Bitcoin chart, and right now the bearish divergence is still playing out as expected, resulting in a bit of a pullback in the price of Bitcoin. Because as always, the most common outcomes from a bearish divergence are either choppy sideways price action or a bit of a pullback, which is what we are now seeing. And if we're taking a look at the DXY or US dollar index, right now this is still bouncing to the upside, which once again is a warning signal for Bitcoin and crypto, because if the DXY is bullish, that is usually bearish for Bitcoin and crypto. And so as always, I'll make sure to keep a close eye on the DXY, and as soon as something changes, I'll make sure to keep you updated here in these videos on this channel. So make sure you subscribe to this channel with notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on any of these important update videos. And now staying on the daily Bitcoin chart, and over the last 1 day, we've seen a perfect bounce from this exact line of support, which is sitting at roughly around $40,000, just above 40,000. And so like I've been saying in recent videos here on the channel, that is an important line of support to pay attention to, because if we start breaking below 40,000, that would actually be a signal of a trend reversal here on the daily time frame. But unfortunately, even though we have not yet seen a break to the downside in the price below this line of support, if we're looking at the daily Bitcoin RSI, this has already reversed into a bearish trend, which can possibly be a leading indicator for the price. Because basically, while the price is in a bullish trend but slowing down, lacking bullish momentum, if we're seeing a bearish trend form in the daily Bitcoin RSI, once again, this is usually a sign of weakness for the price of Bitcoin and usually results in some slightly lower prices later on. And so perhaps when the ETFs begin trading again on Monday, when the stock market opens next week, once again, we could see more selling pressure, resulting in some slightly lower prices. But remember, all of that's just talking about the somewhat shorter term, as in the coming days or weeks. But if you're talking about multiple months or a year from now, once again, I'm still very much bullish on the much larger timeframes like the weekly chart. But anyway, if we're taking a look at the much shorter term, looking at just the 4-hour time frame, obviously over the last one day, we saw another perfect bounce from this area of support, which is sitting in between around 40,500 to 41k. And once again, as I said in my last video here on the channel, we also have a new bullish divergence here on the 4-hour time frame, which is resulting in a slight bullish relief and also some choppy sideways price action, which is what we've seen over the last one day as expected. And so I do continue to expect that type of price action, especially over the weekend, while we're lacking that extra selling pressure from Grayscale. And so once again, just this weekend, I'll be expecting some choppy sideways price action or possibly a very slight bullish relief, but I would not be expecting significant bullish momentum due to the larger bearish divergence playing out. And once again, when Monday comes around, we're most likely going to see some more selling pressure from Grayscale. But as for support and resistance, once again, we saw another perfect bounce from that area of support. And as for resistance, we have this previous area of support now acting as new resistance, sitting in between around 42.4k to 42.7k. And above that, we also have some more resistance at around 43.3k and more resistance starting at around 44.3k. And if we're zooming into the much shorter term, looking at just the 1-hour time frame, we also have a new bullish divergence here in the imminent short term, with lower lows confirmed in the price in the candle closes and higher lows confirmed in the 1-hour Bitcoin RSI. And so once again, this means we're most likely going to see either choppy sideways price action or potentially a slight bullish relief just in the short term, as in talking about the next 1 to 2 days or so. And if you want to trade these moves in the price of Bitcoin, whether you're bullish or bearish, you can make money with long positions or short positions. And personally, I take those trades over on Bybit, so I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit in the description down below and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link down below this video to make a Bybit account, you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there is also Bitflex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitflex. And so I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bitflex in the description down below and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link and deposit at least $100 worth of crypto and make one trade over on Bitflex, you can get 10 USDT completely for free. And so if you're trading crypto anyway, or if you're preparing to take the next trade, you might as well get set up or ready to go on one of those exchanges using those links down below this video if you want to get those extra bonuses. And now taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, and as we can see, we do have one liquidity zone to the downside, which is sitting at around 40.2k. But we do actually have more liquidity to the upside compared to the downside, at least in the short term. And so some liquidity zones to look out for are, first of all, sitting at around 42.2k to 42.3k. Above that, we have more liquidity at around 43,000 to 43.1k. And above that, we do have a decent level of liquidity at around 43.7k. And so basically, those are just some short-term price targets to pay attention to, because once again, Bitcoin usually gets attracted towards those areas of liquidity. But anyway, getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the daily ETH to US dollar chart, and right now the bearish divergence is still playing out as expected, right now playing out a short-term pullback in the price of ETH. And so once again, as I've been saying for the last 1 week or so, I would not be expecting any significant bullish momentum, at least in the short term, and instead we're most likely going to see either choppy sideways price action, if not a pullback in the price of ETH, potentially over the next couple of weeks. And also, if we're looking at the daily Ethereum MACD, we are now seeing a new bearish cross in this indicator, telling us we're about to see some more bearish momentum building up. And so once again, just in the short term, that is a short-term bearish signal, telling us that we could potentially see see a little bit more of a pullback before eventually a recovery later on. And if we're taking a look at the shorter term, looking at the 4-hour time frame, we just saw another perfect bounce from this previous area of resistance, now acting as new support, which is sitting in between around 23.90 to around 24.20. And so at least in the short term, that is the important area of support to pay attention to. But if we see a confirmed breakback below that area, then in that case, our next short-term support would be sitting at around 23.30. And below that, we also have some more support at around 22.60 and some more support down towards around 21.60. And once again, just in the short term, we're currently in a short-term pullback. As we can see here on the 4-hour time frame, we're actually looking bearish in the short term, forming lower highs and lower lows, which is technically a bearish trend. And as of right now, while the price is in this short-term descending parallel channel, a bearish parallel channel, of course, we have this line of support acting as perfect support over the last 1 day, which is sitting at around 2.4K. And just yesterday, it was sitting at around 24.10. And as for short-term resistance, this is sitting at around 25.40 approximately, which basically means even if the price goes all the way up towards 25.40 to 25.30, and if we see a rejection from that level, we can still be within the short-term bearish trend, the short-term descending parallel channel. But during this small bearish trend right here, if we're zooming into the much shorter term, just this price action right here on the 1-hour time frame, we do actually have a very short-term bullish divergence. Because obviously over the last 1 day or so, we've confirmed a new lower low in the price in the candle closes, while confirming a higher low in the 1-hour Ethereum RSI. And so once again, like I said, for Bitcoin on the 1-hour time frame, this means we're most likely going to see either some choppy sideways price action or potentially a little bit of a bullish relief just in the imminent short term, as in over the next 1 to 2 days or so. But remember, this is only on the 1-hour time frame. We're only talking about the smaller and quicker moves here, which remember, if we see a bullish move like that, that could just simply be a bullish move like this on the 4-hour time frame, still within the bearish trend. But at least while it's the weekend, once again, we're most likely going to see a relatively boring price action because we do usually see much lower trading volumes during the weekend. And once again, the spot Bitcoin ETFs are not trading on the weekend. And speaking of choppy sideways price action, taking a look at the price of Solana against the US dollar on the 4-hour time frame. And right now, the price of Solana is still just chopping around sideways in this sideways price range in between the golden pocket and the 23.6% Fibonacci level, which is acting as resistance. And in case you're new to this channel, the golden pocket is sitting in between around $83.50 to $85.50, and this Fibonacci level acting as resistance is sitting at around $108 to $109. But believe it or not, while the price of Solana is just chopping around sideways here in this sideways price range, you can actually make a lot of easy profits from this choppy sideways price action. And if you want to know how to do that, then make sure to watch the video in the bottom left of your screen right now, because that video right there shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action, and the video in the top left shows you how you can long or short crypto to make money if the price is bullish or bearish. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.